Are you ready to stop the self-sabotage and create the life you desire? Well, in order for that to happen, you need to break free from the bad beliefs that are holding your success hostage. You need to optimize the stress by turning it into extra energy for success. And those hurtful habits? Well, we need to give that pain a purpose for progress. Welcome to Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire podcast. Have you ever seen a dog out in their backyard and they're absolutely going berserk? They're running up and down the fence line, just barking and barking and barking. And they're completely out of control. This happened just yesterday. I had taken my dog for a walk and we came back. She always likes to go out and to the backyard afterwards and hang out for a little bit. And when we went out, the dog next door, who's brand new, was already running up and down the other side of the yard, the other fence line. And then as soon as he saw us, he came over to our side and just started going nuts, running up and down, barking, and just to the point that it was absolute frenzy. My dog walked around the yard completely ignoring it, didn't want to have anything to do with it. Now, it's interesting that the animal behavioralists that I have talked to have said that the reason why dogs do that is because they have not been stimulated enough in their natural environment, that they're not experiencing what it is that they need to be able to express all of this pent-up energy. And so then they go ballistic on the very next thing. And it got even more interesting whenever the owner came out after several minutes of the dog barking and tried to control it by telling it, no, sit, be still, come here. Dog couldn't hear her because he was so worked up. Now, what does all of this have to do with the trauma in your life? You have been conditioned to be hooked by certain emotional experiences. And when they hook you, when they engage you, then whenever you start going ballistic and your emotions start getting out of control, you can tell yourself all you want. I need to calm down. I need to focus. I need to be okay. It is too late. You need to have addressed it before it ever showed up. And just like the dog that was absolutely out of control because it did not have enough stimulus during its day, it's the same way with you. Whatever stimulus sets you off also controls you. And people in your life have learned to turn on your emotions. And when they turn on your emotions, they control your actions. I've told the people that I train for many, many years, whatever or whomever controls the emotions controls the person, and whoever or whatever controls the person controls the outcome of the engagement or the entanglement. So when others try to control you by setting you off emotionally, whether they're doing it subconsciously, they're not even aware of it, or they're doing it consciously because they feed off of your energy when you get all worked up. Either way, you've got to be able to take your power back, because as long as you're going by them or it stimulating you, you will continue to seek it out every time you want an emotional hit. If you do not have yourself programmed to be stimulated by achievement, then you will automatically subconsciously and habitually be stimulated by drama. Now, the reason why is because you experienced a trauma at some point in your life, and that trauma was intense enough to set up the triangle known as victim, hero, bully. And now your powerful mind will continue to seek out the people, places, and things to put you in one of those positions. By the way, who am I to share all of this with you? Dawn Ferguson. I am a certified hypnotist. I assist others in how to upgrade their identity, that when they are stimulated by outside people, places, and things, it actually turns on their brilliance for them to go further, faster, quicker, and easier by helping them harness the power of their focus, optimizing the emotions, and implementing their actions. Guess what? You don't care. You want to know that whenever you get turned on for a challenge, how not to turn it into a problem, but instead how to move forward faster. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. Okay, so number 7 out of 10 tips to bring you out at your best is what's known as pyramiding of suggestion. And this is what can set off the drama trauma triangle, or it can take you out of it and actually have you on the path that takes you upward into what you want to experience in life. And the pyramiding of suggestions simply means that each suggestion you accept then sets up less opposition to successive suggestions. So you start out with something small, and it can actually lead to something large. If you think about how a pyramid is actually put together, well, you have that base level, and then the next level up builds on that, and then the next level up. Now, we're not talking about a regular building. A pyramid, each level is smaller than the level below it. So this means that if I can get you to accept a very simple suggestion, that the next suggestion I give can be a little bit more involved, and the suggestion after that a little bit more complex. And each of those suggestions will take less effort on my part to get you to go along with if I started with something simple. So this can start off what's known as the trauma-drama triangle. Again, that's where at some point in your life you went through an experience that set up an imprint for drama, of you being out of control and being under the control of somebody else. So here you are, an adult, you think you know better, and somebody says, "Oh, did you hear what happened?" And as soon as you go, "No, what?" "Oh, simple suggestion." See, they're trying to engage you. They're trying to hook you through your curiosity. Someone reaches out to me, "You got a few minutes?" My next question is, for what? Because I want to be very careful that I'm engaging, but I'm not entangling. Entanglement is whenever I become controlled by someone else's situation. It was really interesting. I had 2 clients last week that were both facing the very same medical diagnosis. 2 of them in 1 week. And one of them was like, "Oh my gosh, it wasn't supposed to be this way. Why is it so hard? It always seems like whatever I do, it's going to turn into a problem. I want it simpler." And their emotions were actually being controlled by the medical diagnosis. Then the other client said, "Okay, medical diagnosis. Yeah, I don't know enough. So I'm going to need to go back in and have another intake with my doctor, see what's going on, and then see how I can move forward with it." Now, the one that was being controlled by the situation had just been given a warning. The second one that was given the same diagnosis, but it was a little bit more intense because they're having to have surgery for this medical condition. They're having to take the next step. They were the ones going, okay, I just need to be more informed. I'm going to be engaged with my diagnosis, but I'm not going to have it wrapped like a noose around my neck, choking the life out of me. And it was all how they allowed their emotions to control them, the pyramiding of suggestions. So what suggestions are you accepting from someone that then puts you underneath their emotional control? What suggestions are you accepting from other substances in your environment? Is it like, oh, just one bite won't hurt, one toke, one puff, one drink? Start out with this simple, and it's going to lead to the complex. But is that complex is going to bring you out at your very best, or is it what's going to be wind up holding you back and controlling you? Oh, by the way, this is part 3 of a 3-part series. If you noticed, the first tip I gave you today is 7 of 10. If you want the previous 6, what you want to do is you want to go to part 1, free yourself from bad beliefs, and part 2, fear, anxiety, stress can be turned into extra energy for your success. So whether you're catching me live, you have access to those videos. Just scroll in your feed for the previous ones, or whether you're catching me on the podcast, Stop the Self-Sabotage and Create the Life You Desire, you can go back to the last 2 weeks and you can see those previous podcasts. And so you can see steps 1 through 6, because each one of these builds on the previous steps. And today it's all about the actions you take, because you cannot think your way into results. You cannot feel your way into results. You actually have to take action. And if you take action by giving me a shout out below with your takeaway from today. And podcasters, there'll be a link that you can go to where you can leave me a comment. Leave me a comment on your major takeaway from today and put the hashtag September Success, and you'll be entered into a drawing for a $100 gift certificate to be used towards any of my products, programs, or services, because I want to honor you for taking that action. Okay, so pyramid of suggestions. What are you accepting from whatever is trying to control you? What are you accepting? What are you going along with that is opening the door then for you being controlled? Now let's move into number 8 of 10. The greater the willpower that has to be used, then the less the habitual response. And willpower is a limited resource. It's what's known as decision fatigue. So when you use up all of your decisions for the day, for people, it's going to be during a 2-hour window, 3 to 5, 5 to 7, 7 to 9, 9 to 11. But during one of those times, you will run out of willpower, that you will never have enough to get you to the end of the day. So what's going to take over then? Well, it's going to be the habits that you have in place. And do you have the habit in place that this is how you take action, where you do not even need to think about it? Reactions are based on past pain. Responses are based on future impact. For 80% of the population, 80% of their world is pain avoidance. And they're trying to get away from something, which means their habits are around soothing in the moment. They are not based upon success. And so you run out of willpower, and then the next thing you know, you're doing too much of something that is actually going to weigh you down. You have to have the habit set up before you need it. You need to have those responses already in place. And whenever the willpower runs out, you're that barking dog getting its dysfunctional stimulation. So what do you have to do? You have to stimulate yourself all during the day for goal achievement. I'll give you an example of this. Peak performers will start their day off with something that is going to challenge them physically, right off the bat. Now, exercise is one of the easiest ways to do that. And maybe you have yet to get into that routine. So you can start today. But the reason why peak performers start off with something that challenges them physically is because of the rule known as your psychology follows your physiology, which means your brain follows the body. We're so used to the body following the brain. No, it also goes the other way. So the brain follows the body. Just how much do you push yourself whenever you're already saying it's enough and I want to stop? You start off your morning with a very simple exercise routine. Remember, we've got to do pyramid of suggestions. We've got to start with number 7. We've got to start with the simple. But when you want to stop, you push yourself past it. You do a little bit longer. You do a little bit more weight. You do a little bit more reps. Because what you're doing is you're training your mind later on during the day that when things get overwhelming mentally and emotionally, and it seems like you just can't carry it any further, you've already conditioned. You've conditioned your subconscious mind that when it seems like you can't go any further, you will. You'll take it further. This is the reason why you can look at someone who's having challenges with their weight, and you already make the subconscious discernment that there's something they're having a challenge handling in their life. And it's not food. Food is what they use to soothe themselves. And it is a discernment every single one of us make because it is the truth. So we can't bash them for it. Can't do the shaming for it. We can just see it for what it is, that there's something that they're lacking the skill set in handling. Well, so what about you? What discernment could we make by taking a look at your actions? How do you start your day? How are you challenging yourself right off the bat? Because then later on during the day, when you hit the decision fatigue, that 2-hour window, when your willpower runs out, what's going to replace it? And if you didn't stimulate yourself during the day by going after your goals, by putting yourself out in the fear zone and asking for what it is that you want, and knowing that you're going to get rejected, knowing that people are going to question your worthiness, understanding that they're not going to validate you and you're okay because you know you're worth it, and you're going to move forward, and you're going to keep asking until you find someone that says, yeah, I think we can partner on this. If you're not getting stimulated like that all day long, you will be stimulated, and it's going to be drama. We see it on social media. Remember, whatever controls the emotional triggers controls the person. I'm seeing people getting triggered all over the place, and then they're running around like a barking dog along the fence line, running back and forth, yapping at everybody else who are in their own yards because they haven't learned to take their focus, their feelings, and their actions back from their painful past. Okay. By the way, if what I'm sharing with you makes sense, then I'm going to recommend you go to drewdawnferguson.com/WFW. It stands for Wealth from Within. It is a home study course that you can self-pace, go by as you're ready to learn how to focus, optimize those emotions, and implement So it's going to be focused on bringing you out at your very best. You also have the ability to work with me privately if you want to, in conjunction with the course. But this is what it's going to do. It's going to do transfer of authority and transfer of power back from that painful past, back from you being triggered, and it's going to give you the control over your life. It is at a very special savings, but that's only for the next couple of days. Okay, let's move on to inner conflict resolution. So you know what to do next time, because you know you're going to get triggered. You know the situation is going to come up where someone is going to try to entangle you instead of engage you. I see it happen all the time with friends. Oh, I've had a terrible day. Oh my gosh, can I share with you what I experienced? Now, when my friends do that, I say, well, yeah, if you want a place to dump the energy, we can do that, and I will not give you any tips. But that's where it gets interesting, is that my truly close friends don't ever do that, because they know, don't share with somebody unless that somebody can assist you with the solution. They don't look for a dumping ground. They look to be challenged and how to use the situation to bring themselves out at their very best. I went through something. I have been going through something for about 2 years now that was pretty extreme, and it's finally coming to a resolution. And when someone discovered I had been going through it, I shared with them. They're like, why didn't you tell me? I'm like, because you couldn't help me with it. I hired a specialist. I hired an expert to help me with it. Because whatever you verbally express is what the subconscious will continue to look for in your life. You have 40 to 60,000 thoughts every single day. Take out 8 hours of sleep. That's basically like a thought every single second. So the subconscious mind is going, which of these thoughts do you want me to pay attention to? And it is the ones that you verbalize and say out loud that it will continue to seek out other people, places, and things to reinforce those thoughts. Can you see how you're venting? Then the subconscious says, well, I just need to find more people to vent to. If you're sharing because you want the person that you're talking to assist you in coming up with answers to the challenge, then it will seek out more people to get those answers. I think it's been about 4.5 years now, Drew fell. My husband, if you're new to my world, he fell while trimming one of our trees, and he fell 20 feet, broke his pelvis in numerous places, broke his ribs. But the important thing was he suffered a TBI, a traumatic brain injury. It was months after everything had healed, and his personality started changing, and he got very angry and belligerent. And I sat down with a group of my friends, and I'm like, I do not know what to do on this. He's changing right in front of my eyes. And one of my friends, who happens to be a nurse, says, oh, that's a symptom of TBI, and it typically fades. Okay, great. I didn't go to them going, I'm venting. I went to them and said, I don't know what to do. And I got my answer. Now, what about you? Are you venting, or are you looking for ways to move forward? But that's where the inner conflict resolution comes in. Because there's a part of you that does not want to move forward. There is a part of you that has been wounded. There is a part of you that learned how to get attention by being a victim, of how to get people to go, oh, that's terrible. Oh my gosh. I hope things will get better. Oh, what to do? Oh, someone said, question, you said that venting makes your mind focus on what you have just vented about because you verbalized it. Does typing, texting, and vent work the same way? Yes, it does, because it's still expression. It is still communication. Even though it is in written word, the subconscious says it's not just a thought coming in and then going back out. It is a thought that you want to communicate with someone else. So yes, it works the same way you have expressed it, and you have expressed it in a way that will hold you back. Unless you say before you're venting to that person, you know what? I know that I just need to drop this load. I'm going to just drop this here, and then I'm going to be done with it. So you can do that. I've done that with my friends. I just need to express myself, but I need to prime them and tell them, I don't need you to try to fix this. I'm not looking for solutions. I just want to leave it alone. Okay. And then I dump the trash, and then we move on in the conversation. Or I can say, here's my challenge. I'm looking for answers on how to move forward. Now I'm inviting in their input. But see, if you invite in their input when you're venting, what you're going to get back is where they're going to validate you're a victim. And now we got a bad cycle, because you learned in the past at some point that's how to get attention. And it's okay to get attention as a child when things are really bad and you don't know how to move forward, because you do not have the skill set necessarily to ask for assistance. And so this is how kids get attention, is they act out. But now we got a problem. As an adult, you're still acting out. And then others are going, oh yeah, that's terrible. That's awful. And now they're reinforcing the child in you. See, we have 5 aspects to the personality. In psychology, it's called the Big Five. When I train others in becoming certified hypnotists and assisting others, just like I'm assisting you, I do it as what's known as motivators. You've got status, certainty, control, status, control, autonomy, relationships, fairness, justice, and truth is the final one. Okay. So each one of these, we're told in psychology, can act as a separate and distinct part of your personality. So if you've got one part of you getting status because you're the victim, and then you've got another part that's control, it actually wants to be able to move forward. Well, now we've got a conflict set up between these two aspects of your personality. And so we have to find a way to begin to get that conflict resolution. This is the reason why I utilize hypnosis. I specialize in something known as parts therapy, where it brings the different aspects of the different parts of your personality together in ways that is going to resolve that conflict. So how are you going to get the status that you used to get by being a victim? Oh, woe is me, that the younger part of you. How are you still going to get that status met, but in a way that is going to go along with the control in your life on you being able to move forward? Because as long as those parts of your personality keep butting heads against each other, you will not achieve sustainable success. It's what my mom likes to say: 1 step forward and 2 steps back. You're making progress, but then you're not, that part of you that looks and craves status isn't being stimulated. And it's going, okay, well, I know I can get stimulated by being entangled with someone else's drama, and it triggers my old trauma. And so you find yourself in the old loop. So you have to be able to access those parts of your personality and bring them together so that you're whole, instead of being fragmented. One part of you wants to go off on one direction, the other part wants to go off on the other direction. Number 10, out of the 10 tips. None of this matters if you don't have skin in the game. I was reading just this morning about some psychological studies that they've done that have reinforced what they've said for years. You give somebody something for free, they don't stick with it. If they have to invest, if it causes them a little bit of pain on their part, then they're more likely to follow through. Let's go back to the beginning. That example I used about my neighbor's dog, just absolutely going berserk whenever I went outside yesterday with mine, running up and down the fence line, yapping and barking, and just being absolutely out of control. And then she's going out there going, stop, sit, stay, come, be quiet. And none of it was working. Let's say that she had invested in a dog trainer who had come to her house and showed her how to be able to control the dog. And it's a couple days later, and now the dog is just going nuts. Well, she's got a skill set now. She's got that foundation. Remember how we said number 7, the pyramiding of suggestion? So she's already laid that foundation, but now she has to continue to build upon that foundation. Do you think she is going to let the dog yammer on for 5 to 10 minutes, breaking every rule that she had already paid to be able to resolve? She's going out there and going, yeah, got to get this under control and got to get it under control now. This is the reason why when people look for free, they don't get what they want. They may get the foundation, but they never get to build on it because they have no skin in the game. Because remember how I said the subconscious will do what's known as pain avoidance. If you've had to pay for something, you definitely want to avoid the fact that it did not work. You know, I can give you 2 pieces of clothing, one for free and one that you had to pay for. You'll follow the washing instructions on the one that you had to pay for, and the one that was free, you'll typically just wind up throwing it in with everything else. You are worth investing in. So start looking how you can have skin in the game, looking for ways that it's going to cost you pain if you decide that it's going to be one more thing that is going to fail. And people know this. This is how they control you, is because they invoke that you're going to experience pain if you try to cut off their drama. No. They're the ones who are going to experience the pain because they're no longer going to be able to hook into you and get you all riled up with your emotions. You are going to disassociate in a healthy way and say, I am not paying that price because success has a price to be paid. And if you're not willing to continue to invest in a way that's going to get you results, then you will pay the price for someone else's success. But there is always a price to be paid. And they will continue to use you and turn you on and then feed off of your emotions. All right. So we started with the reason why you can be controlled by others and their drama and your past trauma is because you're not being stimulated enough. Because the subconscious mind must have stimulation. And you are not taking the actions of putting yourself out there and pushing towards your goals every single day. You need to start your day with something that is going to challenge you to be more, to do more, so you can have more as the day goes on. And if you do not stimulate yourself that way, you're going to find at some point during the day, you will be stimulated for someone else's dysfunction. And then they're going to put their hooks into you, and you're going to get entangled in their emotions. It's time for you to take your power back. You have to do that through your focus, by optimizing your feelings, and then implementing your actions. If I can assist you, go to drewdawnferguson.com/WFW. Stands for Wealth from Within. Let me give you this system so you can start revealing who you really are, not what someone else needs you to be for them. So until we work together, the world needs your brilliance, but you can't do that when other people are plugging into you and using your energy for their end results. Time for them to unplug. See you soon.